Welcome to the podcast series Us and Them, brought to you by Heidelberg University's Graduate School for Humanities and Social Sciences. Tune in for thought-provoking interviews with experts in different fields, from the social sciences to the humanities, from law to economics.
HGGS, Us and Them.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of our podcast Us and Them. I'm Laura, and today we have a very special guest, our friend Marco Deldin, who is also a HGGS member. Welcome, Marco.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and you were also presenting at our forum, which had the same topic, Us and Them. So it's really, really cool that you're here today to talk about the same topic and maybe go more in depth than you were able to with the 15 minutes you were given with your presentation.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. I mean, the forum was amazing. It was really, really good, and you guys did an amazing job. And now with this podcast series, again, really cool. Yeah, let's start it.
Thank you so much. That's really kind. So, Marco, you are a PhD student in Asian and Transcultural Studies at Heidelberg University and at Foscari University in Venice. So is it like a double degree you're doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, cool. And I also read on your bio that you were a visiting researcher at Kyoto University.
Yeah.
When were you in Kyoto and for how long?
So, I studied my PhD here. It's a double degree, so it's part of the time has to be spent in Venice, but my specialization is Japanese and Japanese culture. At least that's what I studied in bachelor and then what I focused on with my research. And I spent the first year here in Heidelberg, and I think it was 2022, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then in September 2023, I moved to Japan for 11 months. I had a scholarship from the Japan Foundation that let me stay there, and I stayed at Kyoto University because my fieldwork was in Kyoto. Was at a club in Kyoto, as you've seen in the presentation. Mm-hmm. It was at I had to be on the site also to talk with the artists that I was working with, and I stayed there until August 2024, which is when I moved to Venice and not to Heidelberg.
Oh.
And I stayed there for 9 months, and now I'm back here writing the thesis. So, you know.
Making progress. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. So I know that you also speak Japanese. Could you maybe introduce yourself and your dissertation topic in Japanese?
Damn, that's hard. I will try. Okay. はじめまして、マルク・デディンと申します。私の博士論文のテーマは、ドラッグクイーンと自己認識です。特に自己認識ですけど、ジェンダーアイデンティティと、ジェンダーの役割を、分析しています。だからちょっと Thank you very much. That was I wasn't expecting that. So.
Oh, I love that. It sounded great. I understood the term gender identity, and I really hope that one of our listeners is Japanese and can tell us how good your Japanese actually is.
Oh my god, I hope they don't, because that was crazy.
Yeah, and you also, you told me that you find Japanese easier than German, right? So how is that possible?
Definitely. So Japanese has no number, no gender. No, I mean, there is gender, sure, but like no singular, no plural. The tenses change very little. There are not as many tenses as in German. So I studied Latin and Greek in high school. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that German would be easier. But the fact that I transitioned to Japanese and I studied for 3-5 years before going back to a language that actually changes a lot. Mm-hmm. That was the shock of coming back to a language that changes and has declination, the casus, everything is weird to me. Now It's complicated, and you guys really need to stop moving the verb around. You guys need to take this verb and put it in one place and leave it there.
Guilty.
And it's really hard. It's hard, but I feel like I'm making progress. The Graduate Academy offers courses. Heidelberg University offers many courses to learn, and I'm doing my best. Mm. So, yeah.
And how old were you when you started learning Japanese, and how did your interest in Japan actually start?
Okay, I started in my hometown. There was the wife of a friend of my father is Japanese, and I started having this. I mean, everybody in Italy grows up with Japanese culture, especially with anime and manga.
Oh, I see.
Because Italy was, since the 70s, one of the biggest importers of anime from Japan. And like every other basic Japanese studies student. I started liking Japanese because I like cartoons, I like manga. And I started studying it with this woman in my hometown they introduced me to the basics of Japanese. Actually, at some point I wasn't going to study Japanese at all. Toward the end of high school, I thought that I would be studying classics because that was my specialty, and I really liked translating classics, really liked classics. And then I did the entrance exam for Japanese in Italy, and I passed, and I was like, you know what? This feels more appropriate for me. I want to be able to read literature in Japanese. Not there yet, completely, but it's. And then I got this interest, and I felt, it's what I want to do, and actually, it was the right choice. Like, I feel like the track was right.
That's
at
great.
the time.
Cool. Now, your presentation at the conference focused on a drag show in Kyoto that is called Diamonds Are Forever. By the way, this is actually a song by one of my favorite bands as well.
Really?
The band is called The Cab. It's really underrated. And they've got a song that's really cool that's called Diamonds Are Forever. So that's some music advice for everybody. And the presentation topic is also your dissertation topic, right?
Part of, yeah.
Okay. Now, you said at the conference that this specific drag show has been running since 1989, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually older than we are, which is fascinating to me. I did not know that drag had existed for this long, to be quite frank. So it's been on for quite long. When did you discover this specific drag show? And did you attend it once, or did you go there several times?
So I discovered this show in 2019, which was the first time that I went to Kyoto for my bachelor exchange. And at the time, I didn't know anything about drag. I didn't care about it at all. I actually didn't want to have anything to do with it. I was like, I don't need that. But, you moved to... First time going out of Italy for so long. And I had some Italian friends there that I had been introduced to.
Oh,
and,
nice.
It's the first time that you're alone. Sometimes you're just lonely and you would go anywhere. And this friend just tells me one night, let's go to this club. I need to show you this night because it's crazy, it's super fun. And I had nothing better to do. Like, the other option was lying on the bed. Doesn't sound exciting. And I went, and it was mesmerizing. Like, it completely changed my view of the thing. It completely changed my trajectory, because up to the point I didn't know what I was exactly doing in terms of research. I mean, it was bachelor, but I had to choose somewhere to channel myself. Was it literature? Was it anthropology, sociology? What do I want to do? And then I thought, damn, this is so interesting. And I started reading about it, what I could find online, because there wasn't much. And I was like, you know what? This is something that would be cool studying. And if I can study it, that would be cool. And that's where I decided, okay, this is going to be either the master thesis or the PhD thesis. It's going to be this. And back then, I attended, I think, 2 or 3 times, because it was only one semester. The show only happens once a month, the last Friday of the month. So I only attended a couple of times. When I came back in 2022 to Japan, I attended again a couple of times. And now that it was my dissertation topic, I was there every month.
Oh, wow.
From start to finish, like usually from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m., 6 a.m., something like that, to do my research.
Do you know how many times you attended this show in total?
Must be around 15 to 17.
Wow, that is a lot.
Yeah, not enough for me. I want more.
But it's great for your dissertation, because now you've got a lot of material to draw from,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, it's and I managed to get really close with Queens and with the artists that work there. We're still in contact. We talk to each other often. Recently, in early June, I was presenting at the AAS, is Association of Asian Study in Asia conference in Kathmandu, and we decided to create a panel with one of the performers. So this drag queen that is also a university professor flew in from Japan
Wow.
and did a performance, and then presented her part at the presentation. and I didn't think that this could be possible. But we keep staying in touch, and it got a really, really close relationship, in particular with some of them.
This is so cool. And I love how random moments in your life can totally change the course your life takes.
Yeah.
Like this random moment when your friend asked you, do you want to come to this show with me? This basically decided your dissertation topic later.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
And that's also how my research in Japan went. At first I was having a hard time talking to building a relationship with the queens. I didn't know how to approach them because honestly they are not scary, but it's an imposing presence. And it's a club, it's super loud, it's sweaty, it's crowded, so it's really hard to manage to say, hey, can I talk to you for a bit, or can we move somewhere else? And I just went to I was attending a course in queer cinema with Professor Yuka Kanno at Kyoto University, and she had organized this queer cinema festival at the university in Kyoto, and I just went because it sounded interesting. And two of the drag queens were there, and they're friends with the professor. So she was like, hey, Marco, please talk to them. And that's what basically started the interviews and the relationship that snowballed, and more people were involved and more. And but it's just, it's kind of serendipitous moments. It just happens.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
But I would also be a bit intimidated. Like, it's kind of like you're approaching a superstar, and you're like, hey, can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I can totally imagine that. So what exactly is it that you like so much about drag that you want to dedicate your research to it? Like, what is it that fascinates you about this topic?
Well, it's... I don't know, actually. If I had to think, it's... What I struggle a lot, for example, when I'm writing right now, is that a lot of the things that you see and you understand are not verbal. Like, you cannot really put into words what is there that makes you feel this experience. I would have to say that it was very free and freeing for everybody to see these performances, because it was just people having fun and making you have fun. And I love the fact that they are so over the top, these costumes that are exaggerated, this makeup that is exaggerated, and they're not okay with just looking pretty or just looking like, I don't know, whatever they look like outside of their drag persona, but they want to create something more that is going beyond what we can imagine and the way we can imagine things, and they make it real on the stage. And that is super, super fascinating when you see it. And I think the first time it was just that I'd never seen something like that. I come from a not small but not big city in Italy, and there weren't many of these venues. And even Venice, now they have a scene, but back in the days there wasn't much. So all my contact that I had with this kind of phenomena were on TV, when we had like drag queens on television, and that was my thing. But seeing it live, that was, I don't know, it was just so, I didn't know what to feel. I didn't know what to think, because it was just sparkling and exaggerated and camp, and probably it's camp, yeah. That's the thing that attracts me.
I think the connection that most people who are interested in drag, like the first connection they get to this scene is RuPaul's Drag Race, the TV show. Have you also watched it? What's your opinion on it?
Religiously. Religiously. My opinion is too much. Like, there are too many seasons. RuPaul, please, if you're listening, stop this madness. Give me a break. But no, I really enjoy this show. I think it was and it still is really important, because it managed to bring into the mainstream and to make more acceptable kind of, I don't really like the term, because I mean, being acceptable sometimes is not your goal in life. It comes with losing some power, but at the same time it made this phenomenon visible, more visible than it was, and more than just the comedic relief in a movie, or something slightly transphobic put in another movie like this kind, or homophobic, and it made it something really beautiful. An art didn't make it was already, but it made it visible as an art form that is complete. Then of course it has its setbacks, and I mean it's a slightly nationalistic tone sometimes, and kind of capitalistic way of understanding drag and this show and how the queens should behave so that they can get the more economic opportunities and the money and become famous. But everything has its pros and its cons, and I think it's still a valid thing, and it's fun. Like, it is fun.
Yeah. Now, since you already touched upon this being an American show, and I actually wanted to ask you, are there any key differences between Japanese drag, which is what you focus on, between Japanese drag and American drag? And maybe, I don't know if you've ever seen like a German drag show, but if you have, could you maybe tell us if there are any like key differences between drag shows in different countries?
Yeah, I'm not really good at making this kind of distinctions because the drag scene in Japan is I've never seen a drag show in the US. I've never been to the US. I've never seen one live, but I dabbled in the drag scene in Japan, and it is so diverse. So the drag that I analyze in my thesis is kind of special to the place that they are, to that kind of performers, to that space that I am analyzing. But there are, of course, a lot of queens that, for example, were raised with RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah.
So they have a drag that is much closer to RuPaul's Drag Race. Or queens that go through another... There are some places, for example, that sort of schools for drag queens in Japan. They're not really schools, but the restaurants where you perform. And it kind of becomes like a school because you grow as a performer until you graduate and you are ready to be one. And it's really hard to make key differences. What I can say is that, at least for the drag that I analyze, the drag show that I analyze, there is much less emphasis on identity than, for example, there is in other places. And there is a different way of approaching activism. So the club has been dealing with activism since it started, especially AIDS-related activism, HIV-related activism, but now also queer activism more in general. And they're doing it, but they're not doing it like in the same way that we are used to see it, for example, in, I don't know, I'm thinking about Italy, for example, or Europe, in which like it's a speech and I give you a speech where I say this, or a performance that is really, really on the nose, in the sense that it shows that you want to give a political message. It's kind of what they create that makes it possible for this kind of going beyond identity, going beyond the categories that we create for ourselves and that bind us. And that's kind of, they do it with the space that they create, not much with like, oh, I give a speech, or I do this, or I do that. And then maybe they would collaborate with AIDS groups that teach about safe sex, or they collaborate with, I don't know, local associations that help, for example, children to develop a healthy way to communicate their feelings.
Aww.
So there are many... They're doing this very locally and very, very on the ground, like very factually, very concretely. I mean, I'm not saying that they don't do it outside. It's just that, from what I could see at least, it's kind of a different way. Not much speaking, but more acting, even without saying anything.
Oh.
And like, of course, you know that they're doing that, but it's more of a... I don't really know how to describe this, but yeah, you know, it's more doing it locally in a certain way.
That's super nice. It's such a wholesome aspect of the whole topic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought of something that was in the German media a couple of years ago. I think in Berlin or some other major city, there was like at a library. There was a drag queen who was reading stories for kids.
Yeah.
And then the right-wing media sensationalized that and really made a big deal out of it. And they were like, oh my God, our poor children, whatever. And so drag, in a way, has really become an enemy image, I feel, at least in Europe, for right-wing politics. Is that also the case in Japan? Or is it a completely different situation than we have in Europe right now?
So I hadn't done research, for example, on how these things were portrayed on the media or how they were responded to on the media, by the media, but they did, the queens that I work with did a drag queen study hour at some point. And that didn't happen in a tiny little library. That was in one of the major theaters of the city, like a very institutional place, and it happened there. And some of these queens work with children in the sense that one of them works on a project that doesn't teach the children to do drag, because I mean, it's not for, I don't think it's for children, at least they cannot enter the club, so what's the point? But it teaches children how to think about their feelings, put them into a rational, structured way, and then present it artistically to others. So by doing this, it's encouraging the children to develop in a way that is healthy.
Oh, that's great.
For interpersonal relationships. And I don't think that in Japan there is as much fear of drag and as much violence against it. I mean, I asked the queens because I was expecting, you start doing this in 1989, and then it's also more or less when the AIDS epidemic becomes big in Japan. So people are going to be scared or whatever. You might be that you get beat up. And they're like, we never experienced any discrimination on the street. Like, we never were never violently attacked by anybody.
Wow.
There was never this thing. But I don't say, for example, that I'm a drag queen because it's sort of a pain. That's how they describe it. Like, it's a bother to have to explain to the other people that you're doing it. Or people are going to think that you're crazy. But it's different ways of, being discriminatory.
Of course, yeah.
But at least there wasn't that. And I do think that what helped Japan was that there was a long, long, long tradition of cross-dressing and performing arts that were never reprimanded. Let's say in, I don't know, there was no Christianity, for example, to say that's wrong, but there were art forms that were very much based on cross-dressing, and people were fine with it. Like, people liked it. And so I think it gets easier to understand that this is performance and that you're going to have fun. Also, this pertains to the private sphere. So what you do outside of work and outside of the family, that is your personal life. What you do, it's your hobbies. And hobbies are hobbies, so we don't talk about hobbies. That's kind of the vibe. You can do whatever you want. It's a hobby, go for it. It's not a hobby for them, but it's still understood as something that is part of the leisure and of the private sphere. And so people might not mess with that the same way that we tend to mess with. Like, sounds weird, but like that in Europe, in Italy, Germany, we tend to be nosy about it and to mess
definitely.
with.
Yeah, there's definitely a cultural difference going on there. Yeah. Now, I remember from your presentation when you talked about the specific drag show that you said that it goes beyond gender because some of the costumes do not imitate women, which is what most people, I think, would imagine when they think of drag. But these costumes, or some of them, are grotesque and fantastic. And I wanted to ask you, was it always like that, or was there a specific turning point? Like, were the costumes more like imitating women in the past, and at some point people were like, oh no, we actually want to do other things, we actually want to do fantastic costumes as well? Or was it always like that?
So there are some documents, like some video evidence from the 90s even, and it looks like it is today. Like, the club, the vibe of the function, it looks the same. Like, we were analyzing, there was a movie that was shot in the club by the queens in the 90s, and we were analyzing with a friend for academic stuff. We don't talk about that here. And at some point there is the last part is a review show, so it's just performances over performance over performance, and by talking about, like, it looks like it looks like today.
Fascinating.
Like, it's the same thing, it's the same idea, and that's also because the artistic direction has never changed. The club was founded by 3 people. It's Simon Fukayuki, that was a chanson singer and a live house artist that was doing cross-dressing in the 80s in Osaka. And there was Furuhashi Teiji, that was then known as Miss Glorious, is one of the most famous Japanese artists. It was in Dumb Type. Another member of Dumb Type, that was DJ Lala. And these three people started the show. Now, Furuhashi Teiji died in 1995, if I'm not wrong, of AIDS.
Oh.
But Simone Fukayuki is still there, and Simone Fukayuki is the artist, and DJ Lala is also there, but Simone is the main artistic director of the show. Like, it has a certain direction, it has a sort of entry level, like that you have to be in a certain way to be able to perform there. Like, you can, it's not really, like, you cannot just look pretty. It's not the goal. There is a vision there that is being carried on since the 90s. So I don't think there was ever a turning point. Of course they changed, like, so the performance changed, the makeup of the performance changed, because, you experiment, you get better, or you change. But the core, that is camp, that is excessive, that is monstrous, that always stayed the main thing. Like, that was always the thing.
That's so fascinating. I would have never expected that, actually.
Me neither.
Because it's been running for so long, right? You
Yeah.
might expect that things were really different back then. But
Yeah, because I asked him many times, I was like, oh, but did anything change in the past 30 years? Like, no, not really. But I was a bit skeptical, because, how can it be that in 30 years, nothing changed? And they're like, maybe the costume changed, but the core is the same. I was like, no, that's impossible. They're lying. And then I see the videos, and I see the photos from the 90s, and like, this could be last month.
yeah,
This
wow.
could be the same. This could be just one random Friday. And it shows, of course, that it's from the 90s, but the core is there, and it's never changed.
I wonder what it's going to be like in the next 30 years. That's exciting.
Yeah, I hope it's still going to be there in the next 30 years, and I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
But I hope I will still be there to analyze it.
Cool. I also wanted to ask you, are there any female performers in that show? Because I know that there is also the concept of drag kings, right?
Yeah.
Which is like women dressing up as men. And I was wondering if many performers in Diamonds Are Forever dress up as these grotesque beings. Maybe there's also women who do it. Are there any?
Yeah, actually, the cast members right now, the permanent ones, are kind of 7, if I'm not wrong. And out of the 7, 2 are cisgender women. Heterosexual cisgender women. And women, both trans and cis, were integral to Diamonds Are Forever since the start. So they always had women that were performing as drag queens, and women that were dancing, and it has always been integral to have also women on the show, and they've always been there. They don't do drag king, at least sometimes they do. They still call themselves drag queen, but they do performances maybe dressed like more masculine, like they put on fake beard to look for the performance. But the main thing is drag queen. It's that kind of performance. But yeah, they've always been for like since the beginning.
That's nice. So literally everybody could join if they wanted to, and if they had the talent to, right?
Yeah, because the point is not your gender. And that's what they try to create in this night. That the point is not your gender, the point is not your sex, it's not your social class, it's nothing of that. Is, do you have that sensibility that allows you to go beyond these names that people have put on you? So can you go beyond woman? Can you go beyond man? Can you go beyond poor, rich? What can you do? And that is the most important thing. And I think it's also what they try to make for the people there. When you enter, it doesn't matter. You can be. It's right now. It's full of foreigners, because I think it's getting more popular. There is a lot of word of mouth from students. In particular, exchange students, so they flock. There are like a mass of foreign students coming in every time.
I can imagine.
And it also appears on Google more often now. So if people search, like, I don't know, Kyoto party or something, this comes up. And it doesn't matter where you're from, what's your gender. A lot of, I think at least around half of the people attending the show are women. Heterosexual women. just because they like it. And it doesn't matter anything. The only part is that you want to see the show and you're there for the show and to mingle in this kind of environment.
Everyone's welcome. Come as you are.
Yeah, exactly. Actually,
Nice.
dressing up is encouraged. They give you a discount.
Ah.
They give you a discount, but you
Love
can
that.
come literally as you can get out of work, drop anything in the locker, and just have fun, because that's the thing. It's one night where you can leave everything outside and just be something else for one night.
Such a nice philosophy. I love that.
Yeah.
I was wondering, has a lot of research been done about specifically Japanese drag, or would you say that this field is still quite new? I was wondering because this show has been existing for so long, but then I wondered, has it been written about academically, like at all?
So about the show specifically, there is very little.
Mm-hmm.
They gained popularity academically speaking in the past few years. So, for example, they had in 2019 a big exhibition at the Mori Museum of Art in Tokyo, one of this important museum that was about Kyoto in the 1990s. And it's Kyoto in the 1990s in particular, the area where the club is located was vibrant. It was very avant-garde, like in what they were doing and the way they were doing art. And of course, then Diamonds Are Forever is an integral part of the years. It's so connected to the art scene that it's impossible not to have stuff about it. And indeed, a big part of the catalog. I only could see the catalog because I was I was not there when the exhibition took place. A lot of it is on Diamonds Are Forever.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had another exhibition in 2022 that was about cross-dressing in Japanese history. And there was an entire room and an entire section dedicated on the future of cross-dressing that was about Diamonds Are Forever.
Mm-hmm.
It was curated by the queens who made the design and around changed completely the room into something crazy, kind of futuristic camp. And they, of course, they're also featured in the catalog then. There are some academic research on the show, not much. There is just a little bit. I feel that more and more articles and books and pieces of media are coming out on that, in particular because a lot of on drag in general in Japan. There is this book that came out, I think, last year called Planet Drag.
Mm-hmm.
No ad, no hashtag ad, hashtag gifted, nothing of that. It's and like to call them friend of mine, Scott Joplin, and they wrote a piece about Japanese drag. And the whole book has like chapters, and each chapter is a country, and they have an explanation of the history and what's going on in the drag scene at the time and in this moment. And there is a chapter on Japan that really does a good job, I think, in showing how varied and how different it is. And there is research now being done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's enough, because when you compare it to how much has been written on the US, on Latin America, on Europe, the comparison does not hold. Like, it's impossible.
I see.
But it's going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's going somewhere. And a lot of it is coming from the community. So people that are drag queens that are writing about what they have seen and done. Or people that are working with drag queens, or maybe in the event planning and event making, but they are writing them. Like, it's not someone that just pops up one day, comes down a plane and decides, now I'm gonna tell you everything about it. It's people that are there, that are integral part of that community, and it's really beautiful.
Which is great. Yeah, you've got actual practical knowledge from the people who are in this community. That's amazing. And also, I'm always thinking it might be a bit more difficult if you do research in a field that is still relatively unexplored, but at the same time it's also kind of a great feeling because you do something really innovative, right? And it's not, I mean, I'm always using the example because I'm doing English studies, like I'm not writing the 1 millionth dissertation about Shakespeare, and it must be similar to you, I imagine.
I mean, you know, the worst thing is that sometimes you don't know what to look for, because you're like, where is this? And then things just pop up like out of nowhere, and then you get on the roll. And it's really hard, for example, to get materials from Japan that is produced in Japan, because it's not usually available online. So that's complicated. But at the same time, every little find feels an accomplishment. It's like, oh, I found a book. The book has 3 pages on it, finally. And, I don't have to read 500 papers on the drag show to say I've read everything there was to read on this drag show because there's nothing. I read it in books and that's it.
Yeah.
But the challenging part is that there's nothing. So you need to build from the little things that you have. But that's kind of fun.
I see. Something that I really liked that you mentioned in your presentation was that the drag show challenges societal norms by celebrating the ugly. And it also, I had to think of this again when you mentioned this attitude of everybody is welcome as they are, the inclusivity. And I wondered, is this something that you would say is exclusive to the drag show and the drag community? Or has this tolerant attitude also kind of translated into the larger society in Japan?
Well, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure that there is this trend going on. The queens lamented a lot of lookism and a lot of trouble coming from feeling ugly or like feeling like you don't live up to the standards.
Yeah.
And in general, I do think that ugliness is still pretty much shunned by Japanese society. Okay. Like every society as of now. Like
definitely,
it's a beauty society, it's not a ugly society. But at the same time, monster and ugly are very vague terms and they're very subjective.
Definitely.
So there are a lot of monster things that are very cute and people love them. What I feel like they're trying to do is taking the rejects of society, the ugly of society, the one that you're like, oh, that's actually ugly, like that's dangerous because it's weird, it's disgusting, and using it as a tool or as a power, like saying, okay, yeah, that's beautiful because it's ugly. Not, oh my god, that's ugly, period. That's beautiful because it's ugly.
I see. Yeah, do you actually have a favorite costume that you've seen in real life or on TV?
Oh my god, I will stick with the Diamonds Are Forever one because, let's do the girls a service. And there are so many. There is this, one of them is super talented, she's called Frida Oblart. And she has sometimes these incredible costumes and incredible performances. And there is this thing that I remember one day she shows up on the stage and it's a huge golden dress. But it's not like... I think it's made from metal sheets. And it's not like a dress. It is this thing that inflates and just at the end completely covers the stage. Like it's...
Like a balloon?
I don't know how to explain because it was weird. Like she entered with this thing and then these metal sheets kept on growing. I was like, what is going on? And in the end, she was this little, tiny, like this wig and this face and this bust, but everything around her was just golden sheets everywhere. And that stuck with me because it was just so beautiful. And then there are the crazy ones. François Al Dente, one of the queens, has this very weird, very crazy costumes where she is very on the nose. Like there is this iconic hat that she wears that is not a hat. It's one of the things that you use to hang clothes that are round and have the clothespins like in this round shape so that you can hang like, I don't know, socks or like small laundry to save space. And it's that. But instead of having clothes or stuff, it's just standing on her head and she has like panties and condoms and then leaves and random stuff. And she's performing with this thing on her head and this canary yellow underwear and this weird weird woman dress on top that is just like weird, but it's just so iconic.
And you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah, you're like, it's so iconic. You look at it and like, damn, that is crazy. And yeah, they're all really good at it. And every one of them, I could name one dress for everybody. Simon has this beautiful black catsuit that is also baklava. So like a kind of a skinny that is stoned and lace and black feathers that is very evil. very villainous. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. I mean, I can mention one for everybody, but I will not because I like them all. They are just so good at it.
I see. Awesome. Yeah, if I ever get the chance to go to Kyoto, I will
You
definitely
should.
check out that
Definitely.
show. I'm 100% certain now.
You should.
Marco, if you were a drag queen, what would you like your costume to be like?
Good question. Good question. You want it weird, big, and I don't know, kind of stupid. Like there is beauty, but there is also beauty in stupid. Like
I see,
know, and then I'm keeping the beard, no matter what.
That's so cool. Yeah, so back to the more academic part of the podcast. I wanted to ask you, do you already know or have any plans of what you're going to do after your PhD? Like, do you want to stay in academia? Do you know that? Yeah?
Yeah. I didn't know we were going into this. I didn't know we were going into this dreadful future stuff. But no, yeah, I want to stay in academia. My kind of dream is to teach in the university and to be able to pass on what I'm studying and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Not only through papers and books and the written medium, but also to do more, to teach, to be able to organize events, to make it more varied. So my idea is to stay in academia. Probably, usual thing, you go into a postdoc after the PhD, or you get into a teaching position at first, and we'll see where it goes because things are changing constantly and not always for the best. I think we are kind of in danger a little bit as of now, and especially more sensitive topics. And it's a conversation that we have to have at some point and be like, what are we doing with this? Why are we letting this people decide that, this gender you cannot study because think of the children. I don't think of children usually during my daily life. I'm sorry. Why should I think of the children? Stop this.
Sure.
And no one is I doubt that any child will pick up an academic book and read a PhD thesis. If they do, you've already lost them to the academia. But
True.
it's bleak. But there's always hope that it's just a cycle and things will go.
We'll try to focus on the positive, even though we are part of humanities and cultural studies, which is not always the best. We know we're in danger, and especially sensitive topics. But let's focus on the whole.
Yeah, it will get better.
Definitely. And I can totally see you as a teacher, like with the enthusiasm you have for your subject. I think that would be amazing.
So. Thank you very much. I hope so.
Yeah. And also, I wanted to ask you, if you stay in academia, would you like to stay in the field area you're working on right now? Or would you also like to focus on maybe other aspects of Japan or maybe, other aspects of queer studies or something? Yeah. Do you already know that?
Yes and no. The fact is that when I focus on something and I'm really obsessed with it, it's hard to see whatever is around it. But then I've obsessed with many things at some point, and I am sure that the more I researched and the more I did my fieldwork there, the more I felt like there were more avenues to explore, more things to see, more things to study. And I'm sure that at some point, I don't think the drug is gonna abandon me anytime soon, because if ever, because it is such an important part of what I like and of my academic career, that I feel like it can never go away. But it's I'm sure that's gonna be more. Like there are so many. I'm still gonna stay on the Japanese side, of course, because I didn't study Japanese for nothing.
Sure.
So I'm gonna use it, and I would love to see connections to the world, to the rest of the world, to not just see Japan as Japan and, oh, that's so weird, but to have it with Germany, with Italy, with the UK. What is going on? How are we conversing with each other? And how are we changing each other? through these interactions. So I'm sure I'm gonna explore other things as well, and it's gonna go somewhere else. As of now, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's gonna be next.
Yeah, it's still early.
Yeah, to kind of, we gotta write this thesis. It's
True,
not that early,
true.
but I mean, you know, it's just like you said at the beginning. Sometimes things happen without noticing. You're just like, oh, I went to a show and I got obsessed. That could happen again. Who knows?
Definitely, yeah. These random moments that change your life,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. This was such a fun and interesting interview, Marco. Thank you so much. I learned a lot. I'm sure our listeners also learned a lot from today's episode. And yeah, thank you for being our guest.
Thank you. Thank you. It was very fun for me as well. Thank you for your questions and your time. And thank you for having me. It was great.
Yeah, we'll definitely stay in touch. And to all our listeners, thank you for listening to this episode. We hope you will stay loyal to us and also be there for the next couple of episodes. And yeah, have a good day, have a good week, and then hopefully see you soon. Thank you for listening to the HGGS podcast series Us and Them. In this series, we bring you conversations with experts from a wide range of disciplines, from the social sciences to the humanities, from law to economics. If you enjoyed our podcast, we invite you to explore our previous episodes and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a new episode. Stay tuned for more insightful interviews coming soon.